Hello, everybody. It's time for the RGH podcast with your boy, Cactus HD, True Vanguard, and M Trashed. We talk about all things gaming here on Wednesday nights, typically, and some drama here and there. A little bit of IGN when they mess up. Cactus just flashbanged himself. You might not have been seeing it on the podcast, but he just flashbanged himself. Bro, you could see your beady eyes just like complete recoil there when you turn that light on.
Beady eyes. I
don't know. They look a little beady.
Make him sound so sleazy.
Wow. Have you ever looked at him?
Oh.
Thankfully, yeah, I have. Good looking dude.
Yeah. Well, did you get a
Did you
haircut?
see that glute shot he posted from Hawaii? You see that glute shot?
Yeah, I saw that.
I think my wife's got that messed up vision. Otherwise, I'd be in trouble.
Have some trouble. You have a good time in Hawaii, though?
It was fun. It was a blast. I went to Waikiki and I enjoyed Waikiki. But honestly, I like Maui better. Waikiki's like, it's a little hectic. It's a little busy.
Yeah.
So it was fun. There's tons of restaurants around, but like I like the Maui vibe if I was to go back, to be honest.
Right.
That little cove that y'all took some pictures in where you did snorkeling.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. That shot.
Yeah, it's Hanamai Bay. It's like you have to pay to get in. It's like a nature preserve, and
Okay.
it's got like reefs of like all these like protected reefs, so the waves don't come in as much. Tons of good snorkeling. I love
Crystal clear water there too from the shot.
Was that your best snorkeling you've ever done there?
Like ever?
Yeah,
I don't know.
ever.
Up there. There's another place called Shark's Cove. That was really fun. Had really good snorkeling. Lanikai is really good snorkeling. I'm a snorkeling aficionado, let me tell you. Dude, in Lanikai, I was out 2 turtles I saw. I was just swimming right next to the turtles. It was awesome.
It's a good vibe. Have you ever done scuba?
I've never done scuba. I want to.
Yeah, I took classes and got my licensing to do scuba down in Montserrat, down in the Caribbean. And I did scuba diving like underneath an active volcano. You know, that volcano there in Montserrat and like the natural reefs that the volcanoes made. It was amazing. So if you ever get a chance, highly recommend. Do some scuba, man. It'll change your life.
Did you swim through the lava?
The lava?
Lava?
There's plenty of volcanic, volcanic reefs and rock formations down there for sure. It was a real cool experience.
That's badass.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about IGN. We're going to talk about Among Us VR. It Takes Two, which, funnily enough, Kat and I are playing through. It Takes Two.
Cool.
Yeah, they announced a movie. Sony and Xbox are going to put ads in your favorite games. Sonic is getting some big, juicy hype. And then we have a bit of an announcement at the end of this episode, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you listen to that if you're an avid listener to RGH, because it's important. So let's get in with IGN. IGN, we talked about this last week. They said, hey, you want to write some articles for us? We'll give you $20. You want to write an article? We'll give you $20. Write the articles, make a couple dollars, and then we'll make some ad revenue. What they didn't anticipate.
I wasn't here for that discussion, but yeah, like $20. Literally every single person that was replying that was like, that seems low. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's like, guys, maybe it's time to delete the tweet and like reassess. If you tweet out and everyone is like, what? Like, maybe it's like, oh, maybe we're doing something wrong here.
Right.
We talked about it last week, me and Mike, and we kind of understood, like, yeah, that does seem like a low ball, but we also kind of understand kind of what the goal here is. It seems like they're saying there's so much gaming news out there, we don't have enough bandwidth to cover it all. Sometimes we just want something that's up for people to engage with 5-10 minutes after the story breaks. So when the news hits, we want someone to just grab the highlights, throw up a story, so that it starts getting some clicks, so that we're, some of the first people out there.
Worth $50 or more, right?
Right. But the problem with people doing that is you don't properly have time to vet the information, verify your sources, and that came to a head already, it seems, in the story that IGN published tonight, right before we went live, that they're already getting a lot of backlash on.
Which is funny because I saw the initial tweets because it was in a response to like Easter. Like, what is the best Easter egg in a video game? And I think Christopher Barrett, his wife, Sarah Daniels, posted Terab Industries from Halo, which is Barrett Industries, which is just his name, in one of the Halo games. And, she was like, oh, I really like this one. And then he posted as well, there in Halo Reach, there's kind of a pamphlet and it says Destiny Awaits. And it's literally the Earth with a little traveler, and it's a little pamphlet. And you wouldn't know that. But looking at it now, it's like, holy cow, it was hiding in plain sight. Like, they full on announced that game. Destiny Awaits, sitting there, an image essentially showcasing parts of the game. And
I think it was an ODST, like in the
ODST, yeah.
And the coolest part is it has the Earth. It has like a proto Destiny logo, like a triangle. It's obviously different, but then it has the little white circle next to Earth, like they had the Traveler, right?
Yeah, and so there was that little interaction, and someone who follows the channel, GP Hash, he replied, and he's like, "Hold on a second. If you guys were that brazen to post something like that in Halo." Are there Easter eggs of your new games, your new IPs within Destiny? And he said yes, but I think he put like a little kind of like kappa. Well, not a kappa, but he put like a little emote or something like that. Maybe meaning, I don't know, like is there not? So I don't think it was a firm answer.
Yeah. It was enigmatic at best.
Right.
Yeah.
But IGN then took this and said, like, Destiny 2's game director confirms that there are 8 Easter eggs teasing their new IP in Destiny 2.
It was literally like, the IGN article said, Destiny 2 game director confirms hidden Easter eggs in Destiny 2, like reveal info on new Bungie games, right? And
there's a couple of problems with that.
We're right off the bat, there's some issues. I think the first issue was that he's not the Destiny 2 game director.
And he hasn't been for a while.
He hasn't worked on Destiny 2 since like 2015 or something.
2018.
2018.
But like 4 years, he hasn't even touched the game.
Because he's been working on this new game. So it's like, is he like coming in, like walk into the studio, like, hey guys, let me just put a quick Easter egg.
Let me just drop this.
Like, I'm sure there is Easter eggs in Destiny 2 related to the next games. It's just like, we won't know until the new game comes out. Because you wouldn't know Destiny Awaits. You're like, I don't know. It has no relation until you look back. You know what I mean? Like, prior. So... he's not the game director. He's just working on the new game. Like, he's pretty high up in the company, but it would be a big difference if like the actual game director of Destiny 2 was like, oh yeah, there's Easter eggs. You know what I mean? So already that's bad. And secondly, it was kind of more of like a troll reply. Like, he's like, oh, yep, you know what I mean? Go find them. Then like, yes, like start looking, right? And IGN kind of took it as like start looking, and it was like, guys, like, how do you not like just go to the guy's Twitter bio and it'll say that he's not the Destiny 2 game director?
Right. And so it's just like, okay, you're doing these $20 articles. Someone goes and writes this. It's completely false. And then people are memeing on it. And it just makes IGN look bad. Like, oh, you're putting out
$20 to look like a bad source. Yeah.
Right. And you're putting out invalid stuff. Where's the integrity? I mean, it's game journalism. There's not a lot of integrity out there, but it doesn't make you look good overall.
No.
Yeah. And I was cracking up some of the replies, like Joe Blackburn, who is the current director of Destiny 2, retweets it with just that gif where he's like pulling the wallpaper away. He's like, "Are you sure about that?"
Yeah, John Cena.
Yeah, the Cena one.
Everyone's memeing on it. They're like, "Congratulations on the promotion, like Christopher Barrett." Like, on, you know what I mean? Like, we didn't know.
Yeah. Speaking of Destiny, though, let's segue a little bit. There's something we don't have in the topics here, but a bunch of the devs at Bungie were like, next season is fire. They just randomly came out and did it. There's like 5 of them, all like, oh, the writing, the season.
More than 5.
It's the best season there's ever been. And they're all hyping it up. And it's like, well, I'm like, We'll see about that. But there's a bunch of them going off the they're not letting Bungie tweet it out, and they're not doing a Vidoc. They're just coming out and saying it on their personal Twitter, which I'm sure they can do, and they're really proud of themselves. But one of the interesting things was one of them, and I don't want to like give it away. If you find it, you find it. But one of them was like so salty. It was like, oh, and if you reply to this with an eyes emoji, I'll block you. And it's like, you're tweeting about this new season that you built. You're really excited about it. People are curious and they're like, oh, I see you. Like, I'm excited. They post a little emoji and you're blocking them. Like, the devs at Bungie really are soft. Like, they don't like criticism. They don't like opinions. It's like, you're sharing this information. Who do you think's going to interact with that? Excited people that are like trying to share this moment with you, and it's like, I'm going to block you because you put an emote on my post. Like, grow up. I don't know. I didn't like that.
Yeah, that was a little weird. I actually looked back and she ended up deleting it. So I think maybe she was kind of like, okay. Like, she kept the original tweet up and then deleted the part where she's like, I'll block anyone who uses the eyes emoji.
Right. You even did the eyes emoji, I think, before she even said that. Like, that was your initial response. It's like, oh wow, this is, and you did, yeah. And I was like, holy shit, she's gonna block him.
I'm gonna get blocked by even more Bungie devs.
Yeah.
The Bungie devs can be a little sensitive at times, but it's also like, in fairness, I think she's just like some random dev, and so it's like, she works at Bungie, and I think what happened is they had like a studio presentation, right? They brought everyone in and they said, sure, here's the cutscene for next season, or here's the plan or something. And then everyone tweets, oh, wow, that was awesome. Like, next season's going to be so dope. Can't wait. So she tweets this thing. I think Paul Tassi picked up on it, retweeted it. I retweeted it, like, quote tweeted it. And so she's getting so much more replies and attention than I think she's used to.
Right.
And then you're going to get the trolls and the weirdos, right? And that stands that you probably have like the full notifications on your phone because you don't get interacted with. So it's like you check your phone, it's like, yeah, XX Sniper Destiny 2 PvP Scrims replied,
eyes emoji.
Dead game. Eyes emoji. Wow, dead game, fixed PvP. You're trash. Dog water. It's like you're gonna get like heated. So I'm glad she. I think the real story here is just, it's kind of interesting that multiple devs like tweet out like, yo, like this, and I think it is, it's a good sign, and I think it's interesting that the narrative team is tweeting this because like we've definitely seen improvements in like the story, and like every week there's like a new part of the story. There's actual like proper cutscenes. You have like the cinematic like almost like comic book style cutscenes that we, and then the real cutscenes, and then you have the full CGI cutscenes for like the big stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just kind of like, it's more interesting to be in the, like someone was saying, like, oh, why do I care about the narrative? Add PvP maps. It's like, first of all, you guys have been using the Stompies for 5 years. You can play the PvP maps for 5 years. I'm kidding. I had to throw that dig in because everyone got so heated at nerfing the Stompies, and I just wanted to throw that dig in. But realistically, it's like, if you care about the narrative, then you just care about the whole season. You know what I mean? Like, if you understand, like, oh, a good example is like the banking, and the stonks. You guys remember for like season of of Dawn, and you would like get the fractal line, just like and everyone was like banking this thing, and like people were like theory crafting about hold or bank, and there was like the two factions. Honestly, like doing that stuff wasn't that engaging or whatever, but everyone was like super into it because like it was a whole community thing, and we were like contributing to this big goal, and then like when we reached it, we had like the seasonal event or the cutscene or whatever, right? So it's like, honestly, collecting that fractal line was super lame. Like, so if you didn't have this like that big community and a story behind it, it wouldn't have been fun. Like, it's kind of like, I don't really care about Wellspring. I don't even know what's going on in Wellspring. I don't care, right?
It's like that big door in World of Warcraft Classic. I'm not familiar because I wasn't around at the time, but there was like a big door or something like that, and everyone had to contribute resources to open it, and it was like a big part of the expansion. I don't know if it was the raid or what it was. Maybe someone on the YouTube comments can can answer that, but I know that Luke Smith was part of that. Like his guild was like one of the big ones that was donating a ton of resources to open it or something like that. And so, it's kind of that feel of like you don't get anything until the community gets it. Like we're all going to get this together. We're all pitching in together for this big thing, and that sense of community is valuable. And it also shows kind of like how strong Destiny is. Like it doesn't have to be the most entertaining thing. They want to like work towards it together. But
so yeah, if there is truly like a strong narrative and you're super motivated and you're trying to help out a character or do something crazy, I think it could be really sweet. So yeah, like I don't want to get too hyped because I've been pleasantly surprised just as many times as I've been disappointed by Bungie over the years. So like I don't know what it's gonna be. But obviously if they're tweeting it out, it's good. I'm sure that they weren't tweeting out that much stuff around Curse of Osiris. They certainly weren't tweeting Bungie just being like, yo, can't wait till you see what's in Eververse, guys.
That is fair. So let's move on to Among Us VR.
Before we do, can we talk about one more Destiny topic, which is the disaster?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yes, sure. Walk us through it.
I'll just quickly say, and then I'll leave because I know True Vanguard played it too, and MTash, I'd like to get your take. Is like, so Master Raid. This is like the pinnacle endgame activity. It's like Grandmasters, Master Raid, going flawless and trials, all kind of tied for like. This is the upper echelon of the endgame.
Right.
As usual, just like in Vault of Glass, you can get the Adept raid weapons from Master. But the problem is that the normal raid loot is craftable. So I can get a piece of raid loot and craft it and put 2 enhanced perks on it.
Perfect.
Whereas
5 out of 5. Every
5 out of 5.
Want.
And so they didn't change the Adept formula. It's just still a normal Adept weapon. It does have another layer of perks, so it's easier to farm and you can switch between them, which obviously is cool. But it's just, hey, you can put an Adept mod on. So you want Adept Icarus? Do you want Adept Big One spec? And do you want a +2 to some stats?
Right.
There you go. That's it. So when you look at this loot, you're like, hold on a sec. Not only can I only get 1 per week, because you only get a weapon from doing the challenge mode extra chest. Every other drop is just armor. It's like mobility focused armor this week. So every drop will have a bit more mobility. But if you're a hardcore player, you have great armor. Like it's not hard to get good armor, honestly. Just wait for Xur to show up. Most weeks he's selling something pretty good. It's not artifice armor or anything. So you're getting 1 weapon, and this weapon is arguably either on parity or often worse than just a normal weapon with 2 enhanced perks. Like I would rather have an SMG like that, the raid SMG with enhanced, let's say subsistence and enhanced frenzy. Enhanced frenzy lasts True Vanguard, right, for a couple more seconds.
Right. Yeah, you get longer duration.
Hey, 2 seconds where
the raid weapon, the Adept ones don't drop with the enhanced perks?
They don't drop with enhanced perks.
Those are only craftable.
They can only drop with the normal perks. So I would way rather have a normal weapon that can't have an Adept mod, but with 2 enhanced perks that I crafted,
right,
versus an Adept weapon that not only is at random rolls, I gotta get a god roll, but even if I do, it's objectively worse because it doesn't have enhanced perks. So it's like, hey, do this harder activity and get objectively worse loot.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
So that's the thing. Like, here's the thing. There are only 2, as a PvP enthusiast, there's only 2 guns in the raid that interest me. The pulse rifle and the SMG. The rest of them are arguably primarily PvE focused.
The fusion's good though, too.
The fusion's pretty good. I will say the fusion's pretty good. It's not S tier for a fusion rifle, but it's pretty good.
It's the only one in that slot. It's
kinetic slot.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It makes it desirable. But for the ones I have, I've already got an Insidious, which is the pulse rifle, fully crafted with enhanced rampage and rampage spec on it. So I'm like, what sounds more appealing? Getting a double your rampage duration, or just having an Adept mod? You know what I mean? Like there's no role that's gonna be better on the Adept version of it because I can't stack enhanced rampage that's extra duration with rampage spec. Rampage spec isn't an Adept mod anyway, so I don't need that gun in its Adept form. And same thing with the submission is like, it's the first time you've ever had the Encore Killing Wind combo on an SMG. So, and again, the enhanced version makes those things last longer. So if you're chaining kills in PvP, the craftable version of the gun is the best choice by a landslide.
Right.
So our team, we cleared the first 2 encounters, and we were like, all right, guys, I don't know about y'all, but I do not care. And everyone else was like, yep, don't care, let's scoot. And we bounced.
Yep.
Which this keeps happening though. This isn't like a one-time deal. They keep adding, whether it's Leviathan, there was like 1 or 2 guns that were like Midnight Coup. It's like, yes, that hand cannon at the time, god tier.
Well, another example, Tash, would be Prestige Leviathan. The same thing's happening.
Yes,
there was no difference.
Yeah, there's no reason to do it other than, I guess, cosmetic, right?
Different colored armor.
Yeah, it was different colored armor.
Whoop-de-doo.
Didn't have better stats. They keep doing things like that where it's like, well, it's the challenge. No, it's a looter shooter game. We only care about loot. If you can give me random rolls with that have a guaranteed enhanced perk and an adept mod, I'm in there. I'm in there hunting down the SMG. It's SMG week. I'm in there. I do it 3 times. I will grind it out. Even now, with Vault of Glass, knowing that I can go in on the Palindrome day, the Fatebringer day, and I can farm 3 of them, and I have 3 chances of getting it, I'll go do that because I know it's a very good weapon.
Yeah.
But when you are going in and it's a cosmetic thing, it obviously isn't motivating players, because I didn't see people doing Leviathan back in the day, Prestige, unless you were a masochist or like Glad and Sweatcicle that are beating it in 13 minutes. You know what I mean? Like speedrunning it. But they keep doing this. It's like the Trials loot. It's not exciting enough to slog through and fight Frostbolt in Trials for like a mid or even below tier weapon. It's like, wow, the Trials Scout Rifle. You can go get one of the worst weapons in Destiny history. Yippee yahoo. I know it's maybe hyperbole there, but when I hear that, it's like, yeah, I would never touch that. Like, I'm already pretty bored of the game. I already made a channel and then quit after a week. But it's these things. It's like they just don't get it. They don't understand what long-term players want. And it's like these exciting, powerful things. I don't care at this point if it breaks the game. Like, I don't want my 50th 600 RPM, auto rifle. I need something new or else I don't care.
You're 100% right. And there's some people in the chat, like, they're like, oh, Bungie's already stated that they don't want pinnacle reward weapons being the best weapons in the game. Literally, you can't find that quote. Or, like, if you can, it's like from 3 years ago. Dude, I hate when people say, like, oh, well, Bungie has stated. Well, Bungie better state something else, okay? Because Bungie stated that there was going to be static rolls in Destiny 2. How'd that go?
Right.
It didn't go well. Like, so stop telling me what Bungie stated 3 years ago. Like, when Bungie designed adept weapons, they didn't have weapon crafting. Weapon crafting changes the relationship for adept weapons. Saying that, oh, now you've got to choose between adept weapons or crafted weapons? No, that's dumb. That makes no sense. Adept weapons are objectively better than the normal weapons. That's why people are going after them. That's why it's worth going, flawless as opposed to just grinding tokens or whatever. That's why it's worth doing master. That's why it's worth doing grandmasters. It's because adept weapons are a little bit better. So, like, people in the chat are like, well, you want to prevent power creep. Enhanced perks are power creep. Where have you been?
Yeah.
Where have you been? Void 3.0 is power creep. Where have you been? What game are you playing? Like, of course there's going to be a little bit of power creep before it's dialed back. So it's like, oh, they can't power creep plus 10 range more. Like, okay, so I have 2 enhanced perks on a Deliverance, and if I put enhanced stability on, it just breaks the game. Shut the hell up. It obviously isn't going to do that, but it's going to motivate me to go and play this endgame activity. Because as of right now, I don't think I'll ever touch it again other than the few required times for the Triumph. Like, here's what's worse. Plus 10 range, so you're killed at 3 millimeters further at a Deliverance, or no one playing endgame activities and people getting bored of the game. Like, what's worse?
The one thing I'll say, the fact that CAC has just said I probably won't play that or interact with that, this guy does Nightfalls like on the last day of a season. Like, there's nothing to do. This guy's grinding Nightfalls at 2 a.m. So if he's not interacting with it, like, you better bet people like me aren't even touching it. And like the most casual of casual, they couldn't care less. That's a big problem. So,
Yeah.
I guess the only good news is like maybe tomorrow. I just wanted to touch on this as well. Maybe tomorrow there's a very different opinion in the community. Apparently, there's this like 5 or 8,000 page TWAB. Like, it's like this insane like encyclopedia of Bungie Weekly Update where they're going over balance changes and stuff. So either tomorrow is going to be incredible or tomorrow is going to be a shit show. And we almost need to do another episode just talking about that because it is going to be either pitchforks or praise, which would be pretty interesting. But let's move on to some other stuff. Let's go to the Among Us. Among Us took the world for storm, right? Like, that game was massive. And then huge news today.
Yeah, they tweeted out this video showing off, and we knew VR was coming, but we didn't know what it was going to look like. And I got to admit, like, my expectations were pretty low. Like, they were pretty low.
Yeah.
But they showed this video today teasing, not really teasing. I mean, it was like, I don't know, like a minute and a half long. It was a pretty good duration of showing what the VR looks like for Among Us. And it looks great. Like, it looks fantastic. Your little Among Us dudes are running through the hallway and the lights get hacked and it just goes completely dark. And it shows something that I thought was interesting because this is something I've thought of before. I play Among Us a lot because my kids are really into it. So, like, last night, I was down here playing Among Us, me, my wife, my 2 kids, and some buddies of ours. And they just have a right with it. And one of the things I've thought about oftentimes is like, man, it would be cool to be able to swivel your head and just like, as you're running past electrical, just to look in, as you're going past. And then in this trailer, they show that you're in first-person mode, running down the hallway. He passes, like, the security room, and he looks in to see if anybody's on cams as he's running past.
Dude, it honestly looks like a horror game. Like, when they have, like, and you're, like, staring at another player in electrical, and you're just, like, staring at each other.
Right?
Like, oh,
someone vents into you.
It shows him peeking out the vent, like, through the cracks. You're like,
yeah, he's, like, looking through the vent. I was like, oh, my God, dude.
It looks so good. I was actually pretty hyped about it.
Well, and I also feel like because it is kind of top-down view, I think there is a lot of knowledge you can get. It's pretty zoomed in, but I feel when you do that first-person thing, it adds a bit of disorienting feel to it. I think it adds that extra layer of like, who did I see in that room? I don't know.
Yeah.
I find it's a little bit easier to track people. When you're kind of top down and looking at it, and I think that it just adds that horror factor, like Kaka said, as well. And I'm getting VR for it. Like, I want to try it. I'm going to talk to Fruit. I wonder what he's going to do if he's going to bring back Among Us. I feel like it'd be worth the investment.
I've got a VR set. I've got a VR headset.
Right?
If you're gonna play, I'll play with you.
I've never had any desire to get one until I saw this trailer. I was like, hey, that would be so... Like, when the guy's, like, pointing, you have, like, it, like, shows the point. It's like, you did it. Then you're, like, waving your hands, like, I didn't do shit. No, what are you saying? Like, that shit's gonna be so funny, dude.
It looks great. I think it looks like they knocked it out of the park. But, I mean, God knows they had the resources for it.
Yeah.
After how much that game took off, so...
And did they do it themselves, or did they like hire?
I think they partnered with some other like VR people, but they certainly had a big hand to play in it, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's awesome. I'm happy for them. I'm excited for kind of the Among Us 2. I hope it takes off. The only prohibitive thing is VR. Like, how many people are have VR? How many people use VR?
Yeah, that's the thing. You gotta spend $300 to buy a VR headset or whatever it is, right?
I guess
I didn't. My agency sent me to.
Oh, must be nice. Must be nice. The only other thing though is they have some of those ones where you put like your phone in it and like maybe it'll be on mobile and they can like, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Mobile VR, mobile VR integration is definitely possible for sure.
If the controls are good, if it runs smooth, I think it'll be a success because it's just we already know that Among Us is popular, but they've added this new interaction to it.
And I think there's a lot of power behind influencers too. Like if if the younger crowd, especially who loves Among Us, is really attracted to it, if they're seeing their favorite YouTubers doing VR Among Us, they're gonna be like, "Mom, I need a VR headset."
That's true.
It does look actually like legitimately fun. Like you watch that trailer, you're like, all right, this would be hilarious.
Yeah, no doubt.
Now, in the next bit, this one's actually really interesting to me. It Takes Two. There's going to be a movie with The Rock. And if you guys haven't played It Takes Two, my wife and I are playing through it right now. You're a couple that you get turned into dolls. And you have to try to get turned back into a human. And there's a bunch of puzzles. And it's these, like a husband and wife, that their relationship's kind of falling apart. And there's a whole dynamic. I don't know how they're going to do it. But I think it's going to be pretty awesome. And, you know, after Sonic, there's lots of hype about Sonic 1, Sonic 2. Maybe we'll finally get another good movie about a video game. And It Takes Two, I think it's got a lot of layers there because, you know, the worlds in It Takes Two are pretty beautiful. Like, I think they can do a lot with that and make it just like visually appealing. And, you know, my question is, will it be animated to some extent, like Pixar animation type thing, or like DreamWorks, because of that whole factor where they're being brought down and turned into dolls? I think they can make it very visually appealing and cool. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
I have to finish the game though now, because it's like,
right.
I don't want to get spoiled what the ending is. So I'm going to tell Kat we got to get our asses in here.
We got to bang this out.
I think we're like halfway through right now, and it has been a really, really good game. I would recommend it to anyone. They had a sale the other day too. We got
did they?
We got It Takes Two, and then the one where you like try to break out of prison with your brother.
Oh, A Way Out or something?
A Way Out, yeah. It was like $20 for both games. And so we got that the other day, and it was really, really good.
Yeah, so Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson going to be the executive producer on that. And I remember, I don't know if you guys recall this, it was several weeks ago, maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago, he had tweeted out something along the lines of, "Hey, for you guys who like video game adaptations, like, we got stuff we're working on."
Right.
And everyone was theorizing, like, what's The Rock gonna be in? Is he gonna be in this and that? They're throwing out all these mainstream games out there.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised that he went with It Takes Two. Like, that seems like, I don't know, it was a little bit under the radar. Oh, I don't know, I would say the game was under the radar, but it certainly wasn't like some AAA title out there that everyone was playing.
I think it's more niche. It's like loved by the people that played it, but it's not like, I don't think like a bunch of big streamers were playing it and playing with each other like Among Us. You know what I mean? Like, I think it definitely did get some love, but it wasn't a viral thing overall.
Yeah, no doubt. But the reception on that announcement has been kind of mixed. Like, there's a lot of people out there who are like, man, some games are really good and they're fine just to stand alone. Like, y'all don't have to take it to the big screen. Y'all don't have to ruin or retell a story that's already been told really, really well. And I totally understand that vibe. But then there's also a part of me that's like, but like, why not though? You know, but also why not? Because this is a great story about repairing a broken relationship and about what it takes to work together. And there's a lot of people out there that might actually benefit from a story like that who would never interact with it if it was just a video game. Like, there's people out there who are going to watch this movie who never would have known this story, never would have had the opportunity to be inspired by it, because it's just not something that they do. They're not gamers. So I think it's totally okay to take something that was really good and take it to a broader audience and allow them to be inspired by it.
Yeah, agreed. Because you know that it's almost like there's so many stories out there that no one experienced, like even God of War. Like the God of War story and like the trip from the most recent one, it's a pretty damn good story. And my like mom or dad will never interact with that. My grandpa will never know, but like they probably would enjoy that tale and like see some of it. But it's lost. We have like our own secret little like
world we live in.
Yeah. We've experienced all these stories and tales that a lot of people still it's very foreign to them.
I think that people are wary of like that. There's so many like cheap, terrible movies. Like the Monster Hunter one
Yeah.
Where people are
Yeah.
like, bro, right? Like, why'd you have to make that? And then the worry is that, like, okay, you make the Monster Hunter movie, it doesn't do well because it's trash. And then they're like, well, no one's interested in Monster Hunter. It's like, no, like Hollywood, you idiots.
Yeah.
Like, you guys just made a terrible movie.
Yeah.
So I think that's the kind of worry is like people see franchises and IPs, these movies being made or content being made on them, and they're not good. I mean, Netflix is notorious, like Death Note and the other more recent one. People are not that anime adaptations of people.
Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, I think so.
I
People
think
are not happy about.
I think the Mario one will be a very big litmus test. It's like, if
Yeah.
it succeeds, the floodgates open. If it fails, they'll be like, nope, gaming's not popular. It's like, no. You probably did make a bad movie, but I have a feeling that Mario will be like pretty big budget animation. It's got pretty big budget characters, like Jack Black's in it and stuff. So
Nintendo never would have gotten behind it if it wasn't, set to be a banger, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
True.
and also you have movies like Sonic. The new Sonic
Yeah.
2 is out. It seems to be doing well. And like the original Sonic, well, it went through that whole debacle where they had to change the face and everything, which was wild.
Right. But the first movie did well. Second
Yeah.
movie, banging. They've already made over $140 million off that movie. That's nuts.
So sweet. So it's like you can have those successes too. Like, if I bet when they say, hey, we're making a Sonic movie, a lot of people are like, I don't know about that, right? But it turned out pretty good. I mean, when it was first revealed, a lot of people went, oh, what the heck is
Yeah.
What is
You
this
see,
rodent?
Someone made a tweet where they photoshopped the Sonic 2 poster with the original like face,
yeah.
and they're like, and then they put the like
There's like dead rat for Tails
like
or something.
crackhead talks in the
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
That was the funniest thing I've ever
That
seen.
meme, I was rolling with
I was dying, dude. So
But yeah, that's a good segue into that topic we're going to talk about. Like, it's interesting because when it's done correctly, now you've got this sort of full circle thing going on where you had a nostalgic character and series of games that I grew up on. Like, I grew up on a Sega Genesis playing Sonic 2, Sonic and Knuckles. Yeah, I don't know if any OGs out there in the chat remember this when Sonic and Knuckles came out. It was a cartridge with a flap on the top, and you flipped the cartridge open, and it had another spot for another cartridge, so you could take like your Sonic 2 game and put it in the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge, and you double cartridged it, and Sonic and Knuckles augmented how you could play the older titles. It was like this. It was so revolutionary at the time. It was so cool. But that's what I grew up with. And then it kind of goes full circle. They decided to make a movie. The movie does well. They decided to make another movie. It's popping. Now they're remastering those old games, those old nostalgic original Sonic titles. They just announced this week Sonic 2, Sonic and Knuckles are coming back.
Right.
So it's really cool because now you've got a new generation that gets to enjoy something that we grew up enjoying. And now I can testify to this as a parent. My son is obsessed with Sonic right now. He saw the first movie, loved it. Spent his allowance getting a couple of different Sonic games. He's playing Sonic games. He's got Sonic action figures. And it's just cool. It's just cool as a gamer dad to see him playing levels I was playing and vibing with a character I was vibing with.
which is so like, who would have expected like 2022 people were like into Sonic again? It's just
Yeah.
kinda, like, you know what I mean?
It's like that. It reminds me of that kid on YouTube that's like, when will you learn that your actions have consequences? Like the kid that's like, he's like obsessed with Sonic, and he's like, they keep ruining the franchise. Like, I want to see his reaction. Like, they finally did it. Like, they finally made Sonic popular. And you know,
Exactly.
it's funny too though, because there's so many other ones. Like, there was like a Doom movie, and it was just terrible. Like, it was so bad. But then you look and you look at like the 2016 Doom and Doom Eternal, and like, you could make an insanely badass movie. The guy wakes up, goes on a tear. He finds out from like Samuel Hayden or whatever that guy's name was, like, what's going on here? And he's like, go to hell and kill all the demons. Like, you probably could make a good movie, but they just like, they don't, well, we know with Halo, They don't look at the source material, and they're like,
Yeah,
right.
let's just throw Master Chief. Let's take his armor off as soon as we can.
Episode 1.
And then let's
Helmet
show
off.
his ass like as soon as
we're
we
just
can.
gonna- every
Show
week is
everyone's
just a new
ass.
body part.
And it's like, bro,
He's doing the metacopter in the finale. I swear to Bob.
yeah, I've never seen Master Chief, and you're showing him off episode
I don't
1.
want to see Master Chief.
Exactly.
The whole point is that he's this mysterious figure. You don't know what he looks like.
He's like the Reaper of aliens, and he's just this figure. But it is what it is. I think the more they accept the source material and use it, the more they stay on track, because we're obsessed. We notice every little detail, and so if you stray, we'll call you out on it, and we're gonna hate it.
I don't understand how they don't do like Mass Effect. You got a movie or TV series.
You got a whole trilogy
Mass
there.
Effect trilogy, like, and it's set up for you. You just follow what the Mass Effect did, right? Obviously, you cut
Up
out
until the end.
driving around.
Up until
Okay.
3.
Okay, so you cut out the parts where you're driving around in the Mako, all right? And you add more sex scenes with Liara, and and woo!
Sorry, I'm just gonna Google that quickly. What was that name again?
Why? Hey, why not both? I mean, like, honestly though, like,
Throw Miranda in the mix.
it is like such good content, such an interesting story, especially like just how it's set up where the first one and you like introduced to the Reaper and you're like trying to figure out what it is and stuff, and the second one you're like gathering your like mega team to go in this. It's such a compelling story, but it's like Destiny too got some compelling stories. Like, you have a ton of games with really fantastic, compelling stories. That it's like, I don't know why you wouldn't just go and make movies. I'm surprised, even like a game that you wouldn't expect, like Call of Duty. If you go back, like Call of Duty 4, right, where you're like, you know, the ghillie suit mission, we're all ghillied up when you're in Chernobyl, like crawling in the grass and stuff. You got to go snipe the guy. Like, I'm like, bro, this is like better action sequences than so many movies out there. I don't know why more movies aren't like copying these action sequences.
It's like, dude, they did the work for you.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, it's like, dude, you're gonna save yourself time and money because you don't have to do that. They already did it for you, man, and it was fire.
The scene you need to come up with is here. They did it. Like,
yeah.
So
I wonder if they start doing that though. Is they start taking, because now they're seeing the Sonics, and hopefully if Mario does well, they see that, and then Activision goes, okay, we're gonna spend, because isn't that what literally Bungie's doing with Destiny right now?
I think so.
Right? That's the rumor, is like they're making a Destiny show. League of Legends with Arcane. I think some of them are starting to realize we have good stories and good characters, and we want to get that out there. So,
100%.
because world building is one of the biggest, what's probably one of the toughest things of making a show. Who are the characters?
Absolutely.
Who are the people? What are the locations? In a lot of these games, they've already developed it.
For you.
It's done. And that's why even like the MMO for League of Legends is like, they know approximately what Piltover is and what, you know, Bilgewater is and these different locations and Demacia, because they've talked about it and the characters come from it and they've got the art styles. And so obviously they need to build a whole MMO, but they don't have to sit there going, what are we going to call that mountain city? You know, they already have some of these things
like
that they can build off and imagine.
The thing in Avatar, what do we call the mineral that's very hard to obtain that everyone's going after? Like, let's just call it unobtainium, bro.
Yeah, like you said,
That's
perfect.
actually what it's called. That made it through. Everyone was like, signed off. Yeah, unobtainium. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
perfect.
Obviously, you've obtained some.
Yeah. Now, the other thing,
Obtained a little
I guess with gaming is one thing that may lead to more movies is Sony and Xbox want to place ads in their game. They're going to sell ad space in their game on billboards, on screens, because they don't make enough money off of skins or games.
Yeah, I know.
Apparently, they don't make billions of dollars. They don't have Xbox Game Pass bringing in $70 million a month. I don't know what the answer is, but Sony and Xbox have already kind of said, well, I remember a patent for this a long time ago, and people were like, they wouldn't actually do that. And now it's like, oh, well, we might actually do it, but it's only in free-to-play games. Like, we want to keep making games for you, but there's just not enough profit to make all these games.
Money.
Right? And it's like, Fortnite made $1 billion in 1 month. There's money. There's money if you make a good game. Go look at them. Go look at like $5 Among Us. They made $500 million. Or sorry, $500 million. You know, look at what's Valheim. I know you have to buy some of these games, but like tiny studio, tiny budget, make this banger game that makes a ton of money. It's possible, but you can't just put out trash and be like, well, it's a free game. Or no, even worse, you can't put out a $70 or $90 Battlefield 2042 that has 800 players right now. 800 players would be like, well, we didn't profit enough. It's like, because it's terrible. It is one of the worst games. Yeah. Let me look again, but earlier it did.
That's the thing. That my first reaction when I read this story, when they were like, well, it's just in our free-to-play. We want them we're only going to do it in our free-to-play games. My very first thought was just that Ron Burgundy meme where he's like, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
It's like, totally, that's where I'm at, because this is a gateway thing. You know for a fact they're going to see how it goes. They're going to check their profits, how much money they make off of these ads. And then someone's going to ask the question, one of these higher-ups on the board who doesn't even play video games is going to be like, why can't we put it in our next Horizon title? Why can't we put it in the next Halo title?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Dash, what's the player number looking at? Like,
it's actually at 2,800, but that's high. It's the highest in 7 days, so I don't know what they did. But,
okay.
But like, it's like 1,000 people earlier today. So.
I think there was an update recently. Anyways, I'm going to be a little bit of a devil's advocate here for 2 seconds and say I'm surprised they haven't implemented ads into certain games, because it seems like certain games are like not only like meant for it, it would, I don't want to say improve the game, but almost kind of improve the realism of the game, in the sense of like something like GTA, right? Or Skate or whatever, things that take place in cities, they actually have billboards and everything like you would see in a normal city. They're trying to recreate a normal city with fake ads for brands that don't exist because like they can't get the licensing. I've always wondered, like, why wouldn't Nike be like, hey, we'll give you whatever, put up some Nike ads on those billboards. You know what I mean? Right. It's like, it's because you're in a city setting. If I'm playing Grand Theft Auto or something like that, and I see a Nike ad, I'm in a city. That's completely normal. It's only going to add the aesthetic. I am someone that like, I see like the fake like Schneike or whatever, and I am like kind of brought out of the reality because I'm like, oh, it's like obviously fake, trying to like get around the branding. And so I've like games like that, where you act, or like a sports game where you actually have if you're playing like a hockey game, you have the ads. They literally have like the ad space on the thing. Why not rent them out to real advertisers? It's not going to change the game that much. You're used to it because you watch it on TV, and it only adds to the realism. That is.
I see what you're saying.
I'm like, dude, if you're literally going to have a billboard with an ad on it, why not get paid and put a real ad rather than like make a fake ad? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I feel you on that. It's not that I totally disagree with you, but it does open up. I mean, it does lead to other conversations too, like who can make those offers, who can get their ad up there.
Yeah.
And then also you have to start considering not everybody is totally down with every company out there. So you may actually turn off some gamers who are like, yo, like, can you imagine if, I know it's a bad example, but can you imagine if someone was like, yeah, we'll put an Activision ad in our product, and then the news breaks, and then you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I
That's
mean?
a good
Like,
point. That's a good
like,
point.
it also leads to just a whole other bag of issues that I just don't want in my games, personally. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I don't think they need to overlap.
You could have like a buyout where Nike's like, we'll pay you $100 million. Every single billboard, every single ad is a Nike ad. You know what I mean? And then you're like, bro, you know what I mean? You're taken out of it. So I can see that point. But that's like, I just wanted to mention, that's like the one place I wouldn't like hate is like the cityscapes where they're already making billboards and ad space to make it seem more like a realistic city. Well, why not have some actual real ads? The developers get a little bit more money. It doesn't take you out of the game. In those specific scenarios, I agree. But yeah, if it's like popping up in other, like, what free-to-play game, like, how are they going to put ads in Apex Legends?
Right? Yeah, that just wouldn't make sense. Like, the only way that I could see it being a factor is if it's like stuff like, I don't know, maybe a battle pass emote or something where it's like pops up in a Coca-Cola, you know, stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But either, I will say that one, for all of its faults, CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk did one thing that was really cool. With the ads and billboards in their game, they took influencers and made them the face of certain products. Like, there are influencers in the gaming community whose faces are on billboards and advertisements in Night City, and it was really cool. I was like, yo, that's Negorix up there on a, you know what I mean? Like,
I think like Co-Carnage, and there's like a bunch of them that did that.
Yeah.
I turned it down.
The thing is, though, it's like there's some people in the comments that they're like, bro, like ads. It's like, listen, you gotta have ads. Without ads, we wouldn't be here on YouTube at all. Us three would have no YouTube channels, because without a monetary incentive, like, I could not dedicate as much time as I dedicate to making content if I wasn't able to, like, earn food from it. You know what I mean? So, like, a lot of people get very, ads, and they get like bro, but it's like, you're good.
Ads bought my house.
But the thing is, ads benefit me, and my content can potentially benefit you, because you now know how to do the raid or whatever. So there's definitely a place for it. If a developer can get more money from ads, and then, hey, you know what? We can actually introduce this fifth character that we didn't think we'd have the resources to do. Now we can. That might benefit you, the end consumer. That is the hope. The problem is, like, when we have these discussions, people's minds instantly go to where things were taken too far, right? Where there's way too many ads, or things get super annoying, right? Like the YouTube unskippable ads. Like people get so annoyed about YouTube ads, but it's like, dude, go watch one normal show without fast forwarding. A half an hour show is only 22 minutes long. 8 minutes is advertisements. 8 minutes. Like, could you imagine having a 30-minute video and putting 8 minutes worth, or 8 minutes worth of ads in it? That's insane, right? YouTube is, like, so much better than normal TV, but people still, like, complain about it. And it's like, I understand why people are, like, upset about ads, but at some point, you have to have them for certain things to exist.
Right. And that's fair. I get it. Should we move on to...
Well, some guys, like, ads don't need to exist. Winston, start your own channel then, and don't monetize it, and see how far you get. You no one's stopping you. You 100% need a certain amount of ads in order to generate revenue for free content to exist, and then the end consumer, you get all this free content from YouTube. You know, your shows, like, all this stuff, like, would not really exist without that advertisement revenue. I think if games are going to do this, honestly, Fortnite has done a good job of, like, not making it too egregiously addy, but just have, like, crossovers with brands that people like.
Right.
Marvel, DC, they're, like, licensing, hey, you can have a Spider-Man skin.
I wonder what those deals pay.
What?
I wonder what those deals pay, or is it like a pro bono thing where it's like, hey, can we put Spider-Man in the game? So
honestly, I don't know.
Is it like just like, you know, you get benefit, we get benefit, people are hyped about Spider-Man, they're hyped about your movie? I wonder what the answer to that really is. I'm gonna try to find it. I'm gonna do some investigating and see.
I wonder, because it does promote both things.
You would almost think that it's like a pro bono thing, is like, hey, we want to put Spider-Man in our game. Here's why we think it would be beneficial. They look at it and they're like, yeah, put Spider-Man in your game. We'll benefit from it. You benefit from it. Because I can't imagine, because it's almost like, well, you need Spider-Man as much as we want Spider-Man in your game. Like, you kind of need us. But at the same time, it's like, well, yeah, putting them in your game with a ton of audience would help us. The one thing that I still don't understand is, why do people keep paying Snoop Dogg? I don't mean to hate on Snoop, but it's like Twitch will give him a contract, Mixer will give him a contract. He's in the new Call of Duty Battle Pass. do people like Snoop Dogg that much? I understand that he like made music in the past, but he hasn't really made a lot of new music. He hasn't really done anything, and
He's
it's like
more just become a cultural icon now.
Yeah.
but why? Like, I just don't. It's so weird to
With
me.
all due respect, I do not think you're the demographic.
I guess
the Snoop Dogg voiceover pack for Black Ops 2, where it changed like capture the flag and everything to his voice at college. that was hilarious. But
yeah, I'm just saying. Snoop's fine, but I just find it so interesting.
This guy's a hater, bro. When I was in his car, I played like Mo Bamba, and he's like, I've never heard of this song in my life. I was like,
rap music.
I was playing like I was like, bro, sicko mode came on. He's like, who makes this? Like, who does this? It's like, is this Eminem? And I was like, oh my God.
Put on the classical jazz, please.
Yeah, exactly. And we go back to listening to elevator music in his car.
So let's move on. We have one last topic. We have a bit of a announcement to make. Who wants to say it?
I'll take it. That's fine.
All right.
All right, y'all. So here's the skinny. All right, we got two guys up here whose wives are very pregnant. They got kids on the way. We got summer just about to hit here for us, which means that my availability is going to be pretty low. Their availability is going to be pretty low. We like to spend our evenings out on the lakes and on the boats with the kids and stuff like that. So our plan is, this is really common for major podcasts out there. We're gonna take 5, y'all. We're gonna take some time to be with our families and enjoy the nice weather and take some time off of the podcast. So we'll do another episode again next week, and that'll be sort of our send off for the time being. So just to set expectations for y'all, if you want to, unsubscribe or discontinue your membership so that you're not paying for no content during that downtime, that's totally fine. Would encourage you to do so, unless you're like, no, I really want to keep supporting these guys. Just totally fine too. But we certainly don't expect you to continue your paid membership when we're not pumping out content. So just keep that in mind. Hope you guys understand. Hope you're patient with us. We really love doing the show. We have an absolute riot hanging out with each other and chatting about gaming news and getting to hang out with you wonderful people every week. But we also do have our own busy schedules and busy lives that are about to get even busier. We want to be able to focus on our evening time on the things that are really important to us during that season.
The real story is that me and Emtash hate each other now. And we can't stand. Every time we just get in a big argument before a podcast go live. No, I'm just kidding. No, yeah, we knew that if we kept this thing going, that especially around when we both have kids, it's like we're not going to be able to show up every Wednesday. And so you'd have a lot of like the 2 people, maybe even one person is like
just be the me show.
It would just be True Vanguard and stuff. And so with not only him going through it, but also me going through it, and like True Vanguard and his own stuff, we don't have a return date. Like, we think maybe there's a chance we do return. Maybe just 2 of us return. Maybe all 3 of us return. This channel, I would stay subscribed. If you enjoy the content, stay subscribed, certainly. But again, just let your membership run out. Don't renew it unless you want to, because we are going to be taking a bit of a hiatus while we, deal with the new kids and that stuff. And certainly, at some point, like Belle Delphine, we might come back out of nowhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, but we can't. But we're not going to commit to anything. So
until we know, because
we don't want to say
we
like,
have
we're going
to be
back
flexible too.
Yeah, we're not going to say we're going to be back from a year from now for sure. Like, we don't know.
And like even when we started the podcast, like we were chilling on Wednesdays, but then this year our goddamn practices and like half our games ended up being Wednesday nights. And so I'm like, Jesus, like I don't know how I'm going to make this work. And I'm the coach for Ben's team. I signed him up for baseball this year, his first year playing baseball. Guess what night practices are? Every Wednesday night. And it's like, it's unfortunate because like, I want him to be in his sports and we're doing that. And that's one part of it. And, another thing to consider that we didn't even really talk about is the world is starting to open up a little bit, which means some studios want us to come try their games or like take us to some different events, and like travel is starting to go up. a couple weeks ago, TV was headed out, and then Cactus was gone. Not next week, but the week after, I'm going away. And, there's 3 super busy dudes together with families. Like, Ryan has 2 beautiful kids, a beautiful wife. Like, they're spending time together. Cactus is starting a family. I am. And it's one more thing on the table that is tough because we're not just podcasters. We're YouTubers and streamers and YouTubers, and we're dealing with sponsorships and like all these things. And it's a lot. It is a lot. And so we also don't want to half-ass it. Like we have fun. We want to put on a good show for you, and we don't want to put out bad content and not have topics and miss things when you're expecting it or excited for it. And so we'll evaluate in the future and see what does it look like. Does RGH return? Does it return with maybe a different flair, a different day? Like there's just a lot of things. So we'll take some time. We love you guys. We had so much fun. It was 82 episodes. We're going to do 83, next week. Of bliss. It was
a lot.
Talking to the friends, talking to chat. Fun. It was awesome. So
yeah,
honestly, we will keep fun, but yeah, we will keep you informed. If and when we have news, something solid for you, make sure you follow us on Twitter or you subscribe to the channel. We'll put out some content and some words on our various platforms to let you know what to expect when we know what to tell you.
Yeah, maybe we'll have the babies on the podcast crying in the mic. Like, it'll be incredible.
Yeah, that'll be great. Everyone loves that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this is why our podcast is dead. We have to end it. Is ideas like this. I'm just kidding.
Come on. Anyways,
but it was.
I think we can just end it there. Unless do you want to do a little RGH After Dark, or should we just end it right there?
I think we'll end it with the announcement. Not too much going on in terms of like After Dark stuff, but maybe we'll do a big After Dark next week.
Yeah, we'll do a juicy send off next week.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Thank you so much. Chris didn't get the memo and becomes an elite gamer. Chip Cunningham
decides for 17 months.
Donates 10. I know, 17 months of love.
That's a lot of commitment. Thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. This has been really fun. And
thank you, Chip.
We'll see you next week, right? Wednesday. We'll be there. And can't wait to see you. John Steele, 19 months. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, see you next week.
Yep. 7 p.m. MST, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Same time next Wednesday. Bye-bye.
See you guys.